What's up, champ? I'm Vince Del Monte of GeneExpressionTraining.com, and in this video I want to talk to you about how to build muscle mass fast. Alright, we're going to address a big subject: compound exercises versus isolation exercises. Which one is better? And up until now you've probably heard the same thing said on this subject matter. A lot of people say that compound exercises are your foundational movements. They're your mass exercises. They're the exercises that build the foundation, so to speak. They're like the bread and butter movements, and that if you want to get bigger, just stick to compound exercises. And the reasoning behind this, the reason the gurus say this, is because you can lift a heavier amount of weight. You can go harder. It feels harder, right? When you're doing a compound exercise, you're more exhausted at the end of it. And people associate that the amount of weight they're lifting with the amount of weight that's going into the muscle. And that's why compound exercises are not the best way to build muscle mass. And I want to explain this to you. I want you to understand this, because when something's been said for a long period of time, we assume that it's true. We don't question it, and we turn off our critical thinking skills. Now, what I want you to think about here as an example is the chest. We're going to be training the chest as this example. And I want you guys to compare doing a dumbbell chest press with 100 pounds and doing a chest fly with 25 pounds. Now, if your chest fails at 8 reps with the heavy dumbbell chest press and it fails at 8 reps with the chest fly, your pec was under the same amount of load. The only reason you were able to do 100 pounds was because the only reason it felt heavier and harder, and maybe better, was because your shoulders and triceps were able to assist, and even your trunk. There's a lot of joint structures involved in a pressing movement. That's a compound exercise. So a lot of people confuse the amount of weight on the bar with what's actually going into the muscle. And that's why there's a lot of guys out there that live off of compound exercises, but they're not getting bigger. They're like, I can do a 300-pound bench press, I can do a 400-pound squat, and they still have scrawny legs. And if you look at some of these guys, you'll find a lot of them on YouTube. They lift a lot of weight, but they're not that big. So what's the deal? Well, it's very simple. When you do compound exercises, there's more joints involved. And when there's more joints, more joint systems involved, more tendons, ligaments, the load gets dispersed. All right? You're no longer targeting a specific muscle that you want to build. All right, so this is why it's so important to know what's your goal in the gym. If your goal is just to get better at a compound exercise, by all means, do the compound exercise. But if your goal is to build muscle fast, we have to figure out, am I actually directing tension into the muscle? Or is it just getting dispersed to other body parts? All right, so that's really important for you to understand. A lot of people will say compound exercises are the best mass exercises. And again, this really depends on what your definition of a mass exercise is. Because if you look at an exercise in terms of being a mass exercise from how much muscle mass it stimulates that you're trying to build, then we can make a simple case why the bench press is not a great mass exercise for your chest. We can make a simple case for why the squat is not a great quad exercise compared to a leg extension. We can make a simple case for why the military press is not the best shoulder exercise for the delts, because in fact it's just more of an interior delt exercise, when a front delt's going to get just as much stimulation into that front delt. So you have to understand compound exercises may in fact result in less stimulation of the muscle you're trying to build than isolation exercises. All right, so don't confuse the amount of weight you're moving with the amount of stress, tension, damage actually being communicated to the muscle. All right, so that's all I really want to say. I just want to make sure you guys understand that, the whole bodybuilding world that, puts down isolation exercises and says, isolation exercises for later on. You start with foundation exercises like compound lifts. It's a bunch of BS. And it's basically been preached by people that don't use their critical thinking skills, and they don't look at the mechanical analysis of an exercise. So leg extensions, again, I'm going to just wrap this video up here, but we can make a strong case for why the leg extensions will build your legs, your quads, more than a squat. We can build a simple case for why the chest fly will build your chest better than a bench press. We can make a simple case for why the dumbbell side lateral raise is a better mass exercise for the shoulders than the military press. all right? And it's because those isolation movements actually use most of the muscle tissue. And that's my definition of a mass exercise, an exercise that stimulates the muscle tissue that you want to build as complete as possible, all right? A lot of those compound exercises only hit that muscle you think you're training with a small percentage of that total load. Therefore, it becomes an ineffective, insert this body part builder, all right? So that's all I want to say, guys. New perspective for you on compound versus isolation exercises. Isolation exercises, in fact, can be far more effective at building mass than compound exercises for the reasons we just discussed. Let me know what other myths you want me to bust by leaving in your questions, your requests in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this video, if you had an aha moment, click the like button. And if you haven't taken my muscle fiber type quiz, do that right now by clicking the link above or clicking the first link in the description if you're watching this on your mobile, because it'll teach you what your muscle fiber type is and how to train for it, which in turn is going to get you faster and safer and, to be honest, more fun results. Okay, until then, I'll see you next time. Thank you so much for watching.